Welcome back, everybody. So we're at the lake with tons of grass mats and lily pads, and we are out here doing some punching today. It is so insanely windy, and if audio is awful, I apologize for it. Gusts are up to like 30 miles an hour, so it actually broke up some of these mats just a little bit. So we intended on punching, but we might end up doing a little bit of frogging too, because it might be a little bit easier for them to find that bait. So we'll kind of let the fish tell us like what they want to do. But nevertheless, the one good thing about doing a little bit of punching and being in this super thick mats and pads is the kayak kind of sits pretty stationary for the most part. I do have an anchor in case it gets unruly, but for the most part, we might just be able to kind of paddle back in here and hang out. So that's, I guess, one good thing. So nevertheless, I do have a couple new punching rigs and baits or plastics, so I might end up using those a little bit too. But we'll start off with what worked last time and see if we can get into a couple. Hopefully we're able to get into a couple big ones. Last time we were out, we did have one big one bite, but we weren't able to bring that one to the kayak. So hopefully today is a little bit different story, but let's get after it. All right, first pitch. Let's see if we can get lucky on the first one. Nope. All right, it's actually thicker right now than what it was last time. Not necessarily like grass-wise, but a lot more slime. So it's actually kind of difficult to get through the mats with just a 1 ounce weight. So I ended up upgrading. This is one of the things that I had recently bought for punching. I don't exactly know what it's called. A Strike Zone lure punch rig, I assume. This is a 1.5 ounce, so a little bit bigger. It is a little bit cheaper even also, just because this is actually lead, so that's why the head is so much bigger than the tungsten ones. But and then this is our punching bait. It's from Big Bite Baits. It's just their 4-inch craw tube, so a little bit bigger of a profile even still. So we'll start throwing this around and see if we can't get into a couple. We haven't had a bite yet, but it's been pretty difficult to get through all this slime. So hopefully this helps out and hopefully get into a couple. Got one. Has he got it? He's got it. Oh, that's a good one. There we go. There's our first one. Right in the roof of the mouth. Not a bad one. Not a bad one to start. Fat one, not real long. Probably about 2 pounds, but let's say ordinarily should be about 1.5 pounds, 1.75 pounds. All right, first one on the Big Bite Baits craw tube. And so far, fingers crossed, we're, oh no, we're 1 for 2. I was gonna say we're 1 for 1, but we're 1 for 2. All right, let's get her back out there. Got one. Oh, wow, did he move? Not a big one. Don't too close to my leg. There we go. He swam a long ways too with it. But there's our second one. Probably got 2 fish, 2 pounds each right now. That was a little bit longer, but not quite as fat. All right. We're starting off well though, as far as hook set ratios. Way better than we have been. Kind of tore up this tube right now though. I'll have to re-rig this guy. So part of the reason I decided to go with this tube is obviously it's hollow bodied, so collapse is a lot easier, and I think you'd have a little bit easier hook penetration. If you watch the last punching video, I did awful. I missed so many, and I ended up with a big one that I ended up not being able to get to the kayak that, you know, probably was just like skin hooked or something of that sort. So So yeah, I went with a collapsible tube just to see if we couldn't end up with a couple more bites. Obviously the problem with the collapsible tube is it's hollow, so it's going to get, you know, chewed up a little bit faster and beaten up because there's not as much there for, you know, to hold together. So, but we've caught 2 for 2 on this bait on the collapsible, you know, craw tube, but the only one that we've missed so far was on the punching tube, but a fair portion of that is just probably because I'm a novice at this, and who knows. But so we're doing well. Let's keep after it. There's one. Oh geez, well, I had him for a second. Hook barely penetrated through. I guess that's why you have to set a hook so hard, and shouldn't give them any line at all. Well, that's about it for today. A very, very short one. Fishing in this stuff is so insanely difficult. Not only is there grass, but there's a ton of algae too. I was throwing an 1.5 ounce sinker, and it was difficult to get it to punch through. I was basically having to send it to the sky to have enough inertia to actually make it through the mat, which is absolutely insane. We had a little bit of a flurry of bites initially, and then it just shut off from there. I tried throwing a frog just to see if that would get a couple bites, because obviously it doesn't have to try and make it through this stuff, and I never had a bite on that either. So I think it was just a rough day, or, you know, there's just not many fish back in these weeds and algae anymore. But so short one today, but next one we will definitely have more bites and fish. But as always, if you guys like the video, if you wouldn't mind liking, and if you want to see more videos like it, if you wouldn't mind subscribing, that'd be greatly appreciated also. Till the next one.